June 18, 1978. Earl's Court Arena, London. David Bowie was singing Station to Station when smoke started rising from the left side of the stage. A fire caused by electrical malfunction quickly spread to the stage decorations, but the 15,000-strong crowd hadn't yet grasped the seriousness of the situation. While the security team panicked and wanted the concert cancelled, Bowie made a surprising decision. Instead of trying to stop the fire, he made the flames part of his performance and turned that night into one of rock history's most theatrical moments. But the story behind his bold move was even more captivating. If you're listening to this story and want to learn more, please don't forget to subscribe, because the truth behind David Bowie's bold decision that night will reveal the story of a genius who forever changed the boundaries of performing arts. The stage technicians at Earl's Court Arena were working with one of David Bowie's most complex production designs from his Isola tour that night. Massive LED panels, moving spotlights, and special effects machines had turned the stage into practically a spaceship. This advanced technology was very new for 1978, and the electrical systems were running at their limits. When the concert started, everything was perfect. When Bowie took the stage in his characteristic white costume, the 15,000-strong crowd went wild. The first 3 songs went smoothly, but when they moved to Station, the technical crew faced a problem they never expected. One of the large LED panels on the left side of the stage short-circuited due to overheating, and the first sparks began to appear. These sparks, which started very small, quickly grew when they came into contact with the stage decor's flammable materials. The fire was still very small, but the extinguishing system couldn't activate due to the malfunction in the electrical system. It was at this critical moment that David Bowie's genius would show itself. The technicians working backstage were in panic mode the moment they noticed the fire. Production manager Tony Visconti immediately rushed to inform Bowie of the situation, but David's reaction was very different from expected. Under normal circumstances, any artist would immediately leave the stage and the concert would be cancelled. But Bowie's years of theatre training and the reflexes he had developed against stage accidents had given him a different perspective. The first moment David saw the fire, he stopped but didn't panic. Holding the microphone, he looked at the flames and remained silent for a while, as if he was evaluating them. This silence created curiosity in the crowd, because every movement in Bowie's stage performances was calculated. No one could predict what he was going to do. Security Chief Mike Harrison ran onto the stage and shouted to Bowie, "We need to get off stage. The situation is dangerous." But David's response shocked everyone. "No, Mike, this is a perfect opportunity. The audience will see a real show." David Bowie's approach to performing arts had always been extraordinary. The mime training he received from Lindsay Kemp had developed his ability to turn unexpected situations into artistic opportunities. Additionally, his research on Japanese kabuki theatre had increased his courage to integrate dramatic elements like fire into his performance. For Bowie, the stage wasn't a safe and predictable place. He saw the stage as a laboratory where boundaries were pushed and unexpected magic was created. "Art requires risk," he would tell his friends. "Safe art is ordinary art." The fire at Earl's Court was the perfect opportunity to apply this philosophy. As the flames slowly engulfed one corner of the stage, Bowie began to incorporate them into his performance universe. Instead of seeing the fire as an enemy, he accepted it as a new stage partner. When David Bowie took the microphone, he already knew what he was going to say. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said in a calm voice, "tonight you will witness something that has never happened before. Art is born from chaos." After these words, he continued singing Station to Station, but this time he started moving according to the rhythm of the flames. Bowie's stage movements adapted to the fire's spreading speed. When the flames rose, he also raised his arms to the air. When the fire diminished, he crouched down. A performance emerged as if he was dancing with the flames. The audience initially had difficulty understanding whether this was a planned show or not. Meanwhile, the stage crew was secretly trying to get the fire under control. Extinguishing work was being carried out from invisible places so as not to disrupt Bowie's performance. But when David noticed that the flames were starting to diminish, he adapted his performance accordingly. He matched the fires beginning to extinguish with the declining part of the song. The 15,000 people at Earl's Court initially couldn't understand whether this was a real fire or a planned effect. Bowie's stage shows at that time were already very theatrical and heavy on effects. During the Diamond Dogs tour, he had used giant dog sculptures and complex stage machines. However, audience members who smelled the fire and noticed the reality of the smoke began to grasp the seriousness of the situation. At this point, they realized Bowie's courage. He was maintaining his composure and continuing his performance in the face of real danger. This behavior created both admiration and concern in the crowd. Music journalist John Rockwell, who was in the front rows of the concert, described that moment with these words: "Bowie welcomed the fire like a partner he had been waiting for a long time. He danced with it, sang to it, and made it part of his art." While Bowie was displaying his brave performance at the front of the stage, invisible heroes were working backstage. The technical team was making every effort to extinguish the fire, while also being careful not to disrupt Bowie's performance. Stage manager Tony Visconti had given special instructions to his team: extinguish the fire without disrupting David's performance. This demand was almost impossible, but the team showed extraordinary coordination. They used fire extinguishers from outside Bowie's line of sight and gradually brought the fire under control. Sound technician Alan Parsons had taken special precautions to protect the microphone systems from the fire and managed to transmit Bowie's voice throughout the concert without ever losing it. Thanks to this technical success, Bowie's performance was never interrupted. With the end of Station to Station, the fire was also completely extinguished. Bowie noticed this perfect timing and told the audience, "Fire and music, both are forces of transformation." These words went down in history as the most memorable words of that evening. Bootleg recordings that captured this part of the concert later became legendary among music collectors. The moments when Bowie danced with the flames were shown among the most courageous examples of rock performances. Music critic Charles Shaar Murray described this performance as the moment that redefined the boundaries of performing arts. Rolling Stone magazine chose this concert as the most unforgettable rock moment of 1978. The Earl's Court fire became an important turning point in David Bowie's stage personality. After this event, his ability to take risks and deal with unexpected situations in his performances developed even more. His calmness during the fire moment had proven him to be a true stage master. This experience also showed its effect in Bowie's subsequent albums. His use of fire and transformation metaphors in some songs on the Scary Monsters album was a reflection of the Earl's Court experience on his creativity. Bowie's brave stance that night was a turning point, not just for that concert, but for his entire career. Now they began to see him not only as a musician, but also as a performance artist. The Earl's Court fire caused stage safety issues in the music industry to be reconsidered. While Bowie's courageous approach was admirable, the need to develop new safety protocols for such situations became apparent. Concert organizers began to take more safety precautions in electrical systems. Fire extinguishing systems were improved and emergency plans were detailed. The Earl's Court incident became an example showing the importance of both artistic courage and safety measures. After this incident, many artists were inspired by Bowie's approach, but also began to be more careful. Pushing boundaries in stage performances was important, but safety should never be neglected. News of the Earl's Court fire incident appeared in all British media the next day. Headlines like "Bowie fights fire with music" adorned newspaper corners. This incident strengthened Bowie's brave artist image and made him an even more legendary figure. The footage from the fire moment was shown repeatedly on television news. Bowie's calm stance and dancing with the flames became the most talked-about concert moment of the late 1970s. This media attention also increased demand for Bowie's subsequent concerts. People were curious about his next crazy move and were snatching up tickets. After the Earl's Court experience, David Bowie began using controlled fire effects more frequently in his stage performances. The inspiration from this fire moment led him to experiment in the field of pyrotechnic art. The fire effects he used in the Ashes to Ashes music video were the direct effect of the Earl's Court experience. Bowie, who discovered the artistic potential of flames, researched ways to use them safely in future projects. He started working with professional pyrotechnic experts and learned ways to create dramatic effects without compromising stage safety. This approach pioneered the development of fire shows in rock concerts. For Bowie, the Earl's Court fire wasn't just a stage accident, it was also a spiritual experience. His encounter with flames had deepened his interest in concepts of death and rebirth. After this experience, Bowie began to think more about the temporariness of life and the permanence of art. The lyrics "We can be heroes just for one day" in the Heroes song were a reflection of this philosophical transformation. The adrenaline and creative energy he felt during the fire moment had reminded him of the true power of art. He had grasped how important taking risks and pushing boundaries were for artistic expression. The Earl's Court fire had taken the wearable art concept that David Bowie developed with costume designer Kansai Yamamoto to the next level. The white costume he wore that night had gained a magical appearance in the light of the flames during the fire. After the fire night, Yamamoto designed a special series called Fire Collection for Bowie. The costumes in this collection used red, orange and gold colors reminiscent of flames, while also being made from heat-resistant fabrics. The most striking piece was the Phoenix jumpsuit. This costume was designed to symbolize the Earl's Court experience and had a hidden cooling system in the back. The Earl's Court fire deeply affected the world press. Rolling Stone and Billboard carried this event to their headlines as rock history's most courageous moment. In France, Rock and Folk magazine made it a cover story with the title "L'art de la survie scénique." In Japan, Music Life magazine had compared Bowie's behavior against the fire to the samurai spirit. In Germany, Music Express had connected the event with the Bauhaus art movement's principles. The drama experienced backstage on the fire night had left unforgettable marks in the memories of crew members. Lighting technician Dave McRae describes those moments like this: "While David was dancing with the flames at the front of the stage, we were holding our breath watching him from behind." Tour manager James Taylor: "The decision to continue the concert instead of cancelling it was taking a big risk, but when we saw David's determination, we decided to support him too." After the Earl's Court experience, Bowie became a real expert in stage effects. He started working with professional pyrotechnic artist Jake McMahon and learned the secrets of safe fire effects. The controlled flame dancing technique they developed together was later used by many rock artists. The flame effects Bowie used in his Scary Monsters tour were the direct evolution of the Earl's Court experience. The fire incident had been a critical moment in Bowie's spiritual journey. This experience brought him even closer to Buddhism. He delved into deep thoughts about the transformative power of the fire element. During his trip to Dharamshala, when he told the Dalai Lama about his Earl's Court experience, the Dalai Lama's response deeply affected him. Fire teaches us that destruction and creation are the same energy. The Earl's Court fire story became an important part of David Bowie's artistic legacy. This event was one of the strongest examples showing that he was not only a musician, but also a performance artist. The next generation of artists drew inspiration from Bowie's courageous approach. Performance-focused artists like Lady Gaga and Madonna said they took Bowie as an example in dealing with unexpected situations. This event, accepted as the best example of the turning disaster into art category in rock music history, had added a new dimension to performing arts. David Bowie's fire experience at Earl's Court is a perfect example of what real artistry is. His ability to turn unexpected situations into creative opportunities instead of panicking when faced with them was one of the features that made him legendary. That night, 15,000 people witnessed not just a concert, but an important moment in art history. Bowie's dance with the flames was one of the rare moments when courage and creativity met. This story is still inspiring today because it shows that real artists have the ability to turn challenges into opportunities. David Bowie that night didn't just save a concert, he also left a lasting legacy to performing arts. And this legacy will continue to remind us forever of the power of courage and creativity.